we found is that there are 4 dysfunctions in every recruiting organization.
Okay.
And whether it is one industry or the next, one size team versus the next. I mean, I've consulted several companies, varying size. They all fall into one of these 4 categories. The first one is that everything is a priority, which means nothing is a priority. The second is that there's no rhythm or drumbeat to the recruiting process. We don't ever stop and go, okay, what's our MO? How are we going to get this done? Because it's almost like that, what is Lucille Ball, whenever she's in the chocolate factory? I think that's what most recruiters are. They're just stuffing chocolate wherever they can. Yeah. The next is that there's no time for us to stop and say what is working, what's not, so we can address what isn't and we can scale what is. And then let's face it, the feedback loop is broken.
Yeah.
You know, the hiring managers, they want quick hires, but they don't give you the feedback. And by the time they give you the feedback, candidate's no longer in the market. So we developed 4 principles, you'll say, to counterbalance those. The first one, and if you're thinking about this, think about how do you squeeze 4,000 open jobs into a funnel? You know, there's only one way that you can get it done, and that's essentially what sprint recruiting is it puts a funnel on the process.
Okay.
So the first step in that funnel is the sprint itself.
Gotcha.
So in 2 weeks, so you're going to your hiring manager or your hiring executive, let's say it's the head of engineering, you have 400 open positions. If you ask them, when do you want them filled? They're going to say yesterday,
Tomorrow.
right?
Yeah, yesterday. Yeah. Tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, it's unrealistic. We all know that. They know that. They just want to say it.
Yeah.
But if you go to them and say, over the next 2 weeks, what are the most critical roles? Out of that 400, they may pick 40. So that's the first step, that the sprint creates efficiency. The second is that the business defines the priority. So out of those 40, I'm going to give you 250 points because I want you to add a numeric value to the importance of those 40. And then that also gives my recruiting team a way to be able to kind of work that in order. You know, so if out of the 250 points, we've got a 100-pointer. As a leader, I'm going to make sure that whoever's working that 100-pointer, do you need extra sourcing help? Do you need extra marketing? So I can pool my resources to get that done because the client has defined success for the sprint. The third is a little tricky if you're not familiar with Agile. It's work in progress limits or WIP limits.
Okay.
So think of them as like dominoes.
Yeah.
One domino moves and it triggers the next one, and then it triggers the next one. The dominoes for us are the candidates. So what we want is that once we get to 5 submitted candidates let's just say it's a new role in the sprint, it's 50 points.
Yep.
Once, you're the hiring manager, once I give you 5, that's my WIP limit, 5 candidates to review, I stop working on your position and I work on the next one because I'm waiting on feedback. Once you give me feedback and say, hey, I want to interview all 5, I move them to interview, hiring manager interview, still a WIP limit of 5. I may have 5 more than I go and I submit to you, and you've got 10 candidates. I'm not doing anything else for you until you give me feedback. You don't give me feedback, fantastic. Your position doesn't move.
Yeah.
And then we get to the feedback. This is the fun part because I've done it with like the practitioners, like the hiring executives in the same room with the recruiter. And whenever I say this, all of them are like, yeah, they're all nodding their heads.
Yeah.
Whenever we implement it, everyone is kicking and screaming. And that's a 48-hour rule. So I submit candidates to you on a Tuesday. You have 48 hours to give me feedback.